Read.
Go to Brian first.
Don't go to me.
Go to Brian first.
What crap music you got on there?
Sounds like the closing song of Deliverance. Deliverance meets Boogie Nights.
What a good old-fashioned backwoods.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Sunday night here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. It is Corner to Corner Radio, live or in Memorex, however you'd like to understand or have that. We're back, finally. The WrestleMania hangover is done. Welcome, everybody. It's Stan Grubb and, of course, the triple threat always in the house. Rob Hefner and Brian Taylor. What's going on, fellas?
Are you boss, man?
I'm doing okay. Finally healthy. I think I actually sound like a human being again.
Yeah, what'd you have to crew?
It was something. It was something that knocked me on my ass for a good 3 days. I missed 3 days of work. Couldn't hardly get up out of my bed. Even passed out behind the wheel. So, all kinds of fun.
And you should apologize to your listeners for not doing nothing last week because of the illness.
I did.
Because the rest of us are ready to do it.
Well, you know what? You guys were ready, and I was the one that was sicker than a dog. But, yeah, totally my fault. I do apologize. I did put up on the Facebook page just the basic, hey, sorry we didn't have a show up last week. It is my fault. I was ridiculously ill. And the guys even pulled some shenanigans to get me out of the bed on WrestleMania Sunday so that I can make sure I joined the crew and enjoyed WrestleMania with them. And, of course, we are going to give you our rundown tonight of our thoughts of WrestleMania and the Monday after. Kind of dive into all the details, talk about some debuts, pretty cool NXT call-ups we saw, some kind of questionable different choices that they had for who won and lost. Yes, sir.
Before you get too far into this, can you hear this mic all right? Because you were just cutting in and out really bad. I don't know if it was me or somebody else.
That actually could be on my end. Let me go ahead and take a quick look. I hear you just fine.
It was on his end because he's still recovering from the syphilis.
The gonosyphilis.
Oh, buddy.
We apologize to anybody that may have actually had to face said conditions. Alright, let's see.
If you have the anal bleeding.
Thankfully, I didn't have to deal with any anal leakage. Thank God, because that would have been awkward.
That weekend.
I mean, that I would admit to. I didn't leave that stain there. Yeah. Somebody else did that.
Those videos will be posted later on Vine.
In
order to corner.eu.
We're going to sue somebody for $100 million.
I settle right now at a court for a beer and a couple of hot dogs. Or nachos. Chili cheese dogs.
You kid.
Sold myself
you can't have my cornbread.
Consequences and repercussions will be had.
I'm from New York City.
All right. Eddie's going to kill us if we don't get this show on the road.
Right. So, WrestleMania, of course, just 1 week ago. We'll start with Brian on WrestleMania thoughts. Brian, from the rundown from top to bottom, I mean, without necessarily going match by match, what was your overall view of WrestleMania?
I was lucky to stay awake till the very end. To me, this was not a quality WrestleMania. Maybe it's because of the things that came prior to, like Friday night. Yeah, there were a couple matches on Friday night that I think could have main evented a WrestleMania maybe in the future. I mean, I like the AJ Styles and Jericho. I like the Divas match or ladies match. That was really about it. I mean, I missed most of the pre-show because I didn't realize the pre-show was going on while it was going on all day long. So yeah, I wasn't too impressed. I did like the New Day, of course, and their Dragon Ball Z outfit.
And the gigantic box of Bootios.
Yeah. I just wonder who tumbled on who as the box fell over. You know?
That could have hurt.
Yeah, it could have had a few of those moments like, don't tell mommy, you know. Don't let nobody grab your butt.
don't tell Vince Big E's crotch was in your face as the box fell down. No. I'm not ready.
Just imagine how many times they had to do that through the walkthrough. All
okay,
right,
guys, we're tipping the box now. You're gonna what?
I was reading from Woods, and Woods said that they're at the point now where they just get approval for this crazy stuff, and Vince didn't even see these costumes until that day when they walked out, and he just kind of gave a thumbs up and smiled. So they must be doing something right. So I don't know how much of the box gimmick he knew about.
Oh, he'll know about it for the next 20 years as it sits in the warehouse.
Stubs his toe on it as he walks around the corner. God, stupid box! I'm gonna fire
I
that
thought
Xavier
the Undertaker's
Woods.
coffins were in the way.
I mean, think about it. Realistically, Vince could have been like, all right, we're going to have this giant box for these guys. And then before they set it up, the three of them are like, let's get in the box, and we just won't tell Vince.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a great idea. I thought that as much as they've been talking up Bootios and the T-shirts and the little miniature boxes, I thought it was fitting that they did that at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Again,
I thought
Vince may not have known. Who knows?
Vince seems like he's only half in touch with what his guys are doing. You know, like once you get to a certain point with him, he's like, all right, you know, just don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Go out there, pal.
Yeah, well, again, I think with them, they're probably making him a couple $1 million, and he's like, go do what you want. You're making money.
Rob, what were your thoughts?
Just don't.
on what?
Uranus.
Oh.
Can we edit that out?
Let's see.
My anus is nice.
Whoa. And now it's awkward.
We say that.
I mean,
Hey,
you said the
You asked the
term.
question. I am just following up on it. Research and development, people. No.
Whoa. I was really going for your thoughts on Mania. Yeah, there we go. Let's get back on
My
track.
thoughts on WrestleMania. I thought WrestleMania was great Friday night. I thought WrestleMania 32 Friday night was a great addition to the WrestleMania history. I thought that SmackDown that they had on Sunday lacked a little bit of pizzazz, as they would say.
Wow, so it didn't even rate a Monday Night Raw. It was just a 4-hour worth of SmackDown.
It was SmackDown with like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade budget.
Wow.
You know, like,
holy crap. We need to put that in print because that's a great description.
I mean, the costumes were great. The pageantry was there, but it's like when your highlight, I mean, I'm sorry, but right before your main event, then you're going to have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. That should have led your show off. And then you had AJ Styles versus, you know, if you needed a match between the Hell in a Cell and the main event, you put AJ Styles and Chris Jericho in there because you knew that match would have been caliber enough to keep up with the hype. But no, we get the Andre the Giant Battle Royal that's over in 10 minutes.
Or if you're just going to phone a WrestleMania in, have the ladies match your main event, or even Jericho and AJ your main event. I just wasn't impressed. This year sucked.
I didn't get the build up for AJ and Jericho as far as why they did Jericho going over. Now the Monday night after, kind of things came together for AJ Styles. I think he got his moment. But I really didn't understand why Jericho ends up coming out with the win. I thought the ladies' triple threat match was good. Rob's absolutely correct. The Battle Royal was... First, they couldn't even put it on the main card. They were going to do it on the pre-show. Then something happened. Maybe they WWE heard enough of the fan feedback, decides to put it on the main card, and they put it right before Triple H and Roman Reigns. Which is stupid. I mean, really, it served no purpose there. For me, and maybe the guys agree, for WrestleMania itself, I think the highlight that for me was HBK, Mick Foley, and Steve Austin going down and brawling with the League of Nations.
Mark.
You know what? Maybe so, but
that's just because you went to.
What's that?
That's just because you went into the bathroom as soon as you saw Shawn Michaels come out. As soon as they hit that, you were in the bathroom.
I don't know what it is with that sound that you just made, but I think there's people all over the world that are, they're thinking about making rock babies now. I mean, you're
thinking about hitting the mute button so we can't hear what's going on.
It's all well in hand, sir.
Well, I mean, the question I want to know, the question that people's got to know is,
Suckers got to know.
How can we have a new attendance record with all those empty seats? I mean, did they just count the seats and say, all right, they're sold? Or does somebody have to actually sit in them?
Somebody put out there on...
how it goes.
Go ahead.
It's normally it's sold because the Redskins do that also.
Because you saw they had the party decks open, so it was like, imagine, like, when they panned the party deck that one time, it was like, there's people standing around like a football game. There's a kid, like an 8-year-old kid, and then a whole bunch of drunk people. I'm like, awesome. What's your WrestleMania experience? Oh, I'm getting beer thrown on me and getting elbowed in the eye. Woo-hoo!
I mean, I did read that was on The Observer. There was something fishy going on with the numbers. There were some people stating that it was more like 97,000 rather than 101. WWE swears up and down that their numbers are legit. I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest with you. I mean, great for them for getting 97,000 or 90,000 or even 70,000. Who cares? Truth be told, it was the show that really people should be talking about.
And I would just put it out there that the Corner to Corner broadcast team will gladly volunteer to hold the clicker next year at WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
And count all those people for you, Vince. I mean, come on, Vinnie Mac. We will do that.
I ain't doing that. I'm not selling my old hand for that.
If he's going to pay our way, if he'll put us over there, then yeah. He's got to put us over, pal.
Yeah, so you're going to all show just counting. Because then you got to calculate it. You got to be like, you got to look at my thing, you look at yours, look at Rob's, make sure all the numbers are right.
Ryan, why are we looking at things again?
Here we go. Now it's getting on.
You don't have to look at my thing.
You leave my thing
have to go there?
My numbers
my
are
thing
right.
is none of your business.
Let's have faith in the WWE that they counted correctly.
Well, at least we know that somewhere down the road we have AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns. But
the main event.
Hey, Stan. Yep.
What's up?
Go ahead, man. Just cut me off. Why don't you?
No, you're good. Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
Oh, I appreciate that. The reason that Jericho probably goes over is that once AJ gets the title from Reigns and Jericho AJ feud starts, it's going to put Jericho, in a better spot because he's beaten him a couple of times. In my opinion, I think that's why they probably did it.
I think there's room. There's room for that conversation. I think that AJ and Jericho for the belt would be a lot more entertaining than Jericho versus Reigns. That's for sure. I mean, what I was alluding to just a moment ago was that the main event of Mania was what it was. I think we all knew that there really wasn't going to be a different direction for it, especially after we saw Shane and The Undertaker end the way it did. There really wasn't any room for any kind of shenanigans. I don't think there would have been anybody else that could have run in at that point and changed the result. Even if Triple H had come away with the title, I think Monday night would have been some kind of, here's your Cinderella moment, Roman Reigns, go out there and get the title. They would have did something stupid. And you guys know, I mean, I'm generally a Roman Reigns fan, but there was nothing else they could have done with Roman Reigns that would have changed the reaction, changed the fan thought process. And I think that AJ Styles is probably the smart decision as far as the guy that takes the title from him. And it really doesn't matter what they do with Reigns from here, because if he sticks with the, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, that's where he should be. And I think that it may be where he's better off. Eventually the fans will just leave him in a heel role, I think. And it'll get over that way. But even then, I'm still not certain he could ever get back to a main event role. I just don't know if the stars would ever align for him that way. I think the focus for what we should be looking at right now is less WrestleMania and more NXT TakeOver, because the matchup between Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura was probably one of the finest wrestling matches I have ever seen. I could not believe what I saw from those two guys. And you got to take your hat off to Sami Zayn, because 2 days later, he goes toe-to-toe with 6 other guys in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. So that NXT has become, we continuously say this every week, that NXT is the brand to beat right now. There's just not a better brand out there. And Nakamura versus Zayn definitely sold that even further.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I think NXT just set the bar and delivered with everything. I mean, their main event with, and then Sami Zayn match, it was just a quality card from start to finish. There wasn't that, I don't remember that lull moment. I mean, and you could tell on Monday night, on Monday night when your NXT talent showed up on Monday night and your Monday Night Raw audience knows their chants word for word, just like we used to do with the Road Dogg when he came in.
Right.
They know word for word. I mean, that should tell Vince that, wait a minute, nobody knows what the Usos say every week. And nobody
Everybody
cares.
knows what Enzo and Cass says. That's right.
Exactly. Everybody knows word for word what he says.
Oh,
and
them some funny dudes.
They are, I think, better on the microphone at this stage of the game than guys like the Outlaws were when they were at their prime.
Then you saw it. I mean, they got a better reaction than. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Keep going.
No, I was just saying on Monday night, you instantly, the Dudleys, even though they were heels against the Usos, people still cheered for the Dudleys.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a faction of people in the WWE universe that just are over the Usos. Because, for so many years they were shoved down your throats because they were the only tag team. Well, and then on Monday night, those guys show up, and boom, it's instantly, who are the Dudleys? And we're here. So, I mean, that just shows you where NXT is in the mind of the fans. And if I was Vince, I'd be, granted he's not because he still owns the company, but it's like, I'd be a little worried,
Well, I mean, I think that he's trying his best to continue the, I'm in charge of everything, I'm in control, don't worry about anything, it's all part of my big plan. And then Triple H is really never really tried to make it seem as if Vince was out of touch. He's just been very quietly in the background making history. I mean, with NXT, with just the way that he shaped and changed the roster for WWE's main show. And now with what he and Stephanie have accomplished with changing it from Divas back to women's wrestling division or women's division, which is great. I mean, now they are on an even playing field. The women are now referred to as superstars, just like the rest of the wrestlers out there. So I think that that's a huge step forward for them. But I do think that if Vince should be worried about anything right now, it should be that he's finally realizing that his time is truly up.
Yeah, I mean, it's now more than ever apparent that the fans want something different. We don't want the same storylines. We don't want the same, oh, wait a minute, they're going to go out, we're going to push Roman Reigns until the ends of the earth, and then, he's going to get the title. I don't know if I was the only one that was still wishing for like a spur of the moment Money in the Bank or something on WrestleMania. Be like, let's change this up, like let's have a Legends Money in the Bank. Like Steve Austin just run down, stun him, and take the title. Wow.
I think with the way that dome exploded when Austin's music hit, I don't know that they would have been able to get themselves together again to pop like that, because that was pretty crazy.
I mean, when you look at what happened, I mean, they walk out there, and then The Rock said he was going to work on something, but it looked like when The Rock was out there for the first little bit, it just looked like, hey, we're going to throw this thing together last minute. You go out there and do what you do, and then just roll with it,
Oh, and here's a blowtorch.
Right.
Go catch them on fire.
Yeah.
That was the Terminator moment this year.
Really?
Like last year, the whole Terminator robots came up.
Right.
And then this year, we're going to give The Rock a blowtorch. While Stephanie McMahon sits on his throne.
Hey, you don't talk about Stephanie like that.
I got to say that Stephanie McMahon made the main event all the more worthwhile. Just put it to you that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think she was out there like that?
They can do it more often for all I can.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to just, every night, that's cool. I'm good.
That goes back to the old, when everybody got tired of seeing Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan. So what they do at SummerSlam? Elizabeth take her shirt off. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Nobody wants to see Roman Reigns? All right. Stephanie, get out there in some leather.
You think maybe Triple H said that? All right, so listen, this match is going to suck, Steph, so I need you to dress as crazy as possible and take a spear. Wait, what?
Yeah. Because, honey, there's nothing I can do about this. Your dad's booked this thing. It sucks. And we just got to go with it. Till we, let the old man run the company until he gives us the keys.
When you talk about getting the keys and maybe taking over, the match, the Hell in the Cell match that had the ramification that if Shane won, he got control of Raw. If The Undertaker lost, of course, he was supposed to be done. No more WrestleMania matches for The Undertaker. I was very disappointed that they didn't follow through and have Shane win this match. Not that I really want to see The Undertaker retire, but I think it's probably time. But why would you have Shane lose at WrestleMania only to say, okay, kid, go ahead and do it. Go ahead, buddy. I mean, don't worry about the fact that you didn't win last night and that I said you're never going to be my son again. And I mean, it was like, you really went over the top with this, and now you're like, it's okay. It's okay, Shane-O. Come on back, buddy. It was a little hokey.
I think they, in somebody's infinite wisdom, about 6 months ago when they were setting this all up, said, you know what? Why don't we just schedule Dr. Phil a week after WrestleMania?
Yeah.
And y'all can say all these nasty things to each other, and then we'll let him do what he does, and they'll believe it because they just fall for anything. and we'll let him put the family back together. You know, so some of the right nowadays, I can see that being a legit storyline that somebody come up with.
How the heck does Dr. Phil fit into all of this anyway? They just randomly sign him for a guest star appearance, and they're like, "Ah, crap! How do we get this to work?" And then they just magically do that. I mean,
his son. I guess there's a band that's going along with it, from what I saw, and his son is in the band. But again, in somebody's infinite wisdom, the same people that gave us Triple H having sex with a dead girl, that we ain't forgot. Somebody's like, well, yeah, let's bring Dr. Phil and he can do his magic with these people, and they'll love each other.
It's also called Dr. Phil's son needs some exposure. So, hey, take your famous dad and be like, hey, I'll appear on your little wrestling show if you let my son band perform or something. But I truly believe somebody that...
Go ahead.
I mean, I truly believe somebody at the WWE warehouse, like when they were that guy who inventories all this stuff, must have just found a whole box of old books from the 1990s. Because it's like we're just rehashing old 1990 storylines.
I'm waiting for the big controversy as to who the $1 Million Man is paying now.
Yeah, I mean it's like Vince wants to beat NXT so bad he's going back to the Attitude Era, but he just doesn't realize that he owns NXT. You know, like I gotta beat this.
Oh, so speaking of NXT, of course, when you look at the main event, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, that title match that was really great. The match was marred by apparent bloodlust from the fans, and apparently Linda and Stephanie McMahon were in the front row on the hard camera side. They weren't very happy with the Holy S chants and the FPG and what was the other one? BS, of course, when they were chanting when Samoa Joe kept stopping the match to check on his cut and get him all cleaned up. Apparently, the McMahon, the matriarch of the McMahon family was not happy.
Well, I will have to put the blame for that directly in Vince's hands, because you have now created a product that goes along the same type of fan base as the original ECW, as Ring of Honor. And they know wrestling. They understand wrestling. They're probably smart fans, much in the same way that New Japan. But, you don't really get the chance. But they go a little crazy. They enjoy their wrestling. The wrestlers are putting out a great product to get that response. You just ought to just shut up and rake in the money and let the fans go get in a frenzy state so that they'll keep buying your tickets and keep propelling this thing forward. I mean, I wouldn't have a heartache over what was said as long as they weren't calling for somebody's little kid like they did in ECW, you rotten little bastards.
Kane Dewey.
Yeah, Dewey. As long as they don't get that crazy.
It's okay because Dewey works for them now.
See?
Yeah, he's part of their creative team.
Well, it's probably the first time Linda had ever been to a show. Somebody probably told her, hey, let's go out to dinner, but oh, wait a minute, we got to go to this little show first. So she probably thought she was going to a Broadway play, Dallas Takeover, and then realized, oh, wait a minute, it's a show.
Vince was there also, supposedly, watching the Nakamura match.
Yeah, I don't think Nakamura will be long for the NXT. I think he'll be.
Oh yeah, he's a international star.
Yeah, he'll be on the main roster quick. The only thing about it is like the ones they just promoted up on the main roster. It's like, are they going to bury them like they've buried everybody else who's come from NXT the last couple of months?
Well, that probably is half the roster now. So I don't see how you can bury all of them.
Well, here's the thing about that. When it comes to a guy like Tyler Breeze, who's definitely accomplished in the ring, but at the same point, I just don't think he ever had the gimmick that was going to get him over on the main show. I mean,
Who's this?
Tyler Breeze.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
I mean, another example is Adam
Tyler,
Rose.
no.
I mean, these were
I don't
gimmicks
know.
that got over in NXT, but they
Fandango.
Oh God, I hate that gimmick. I wish that guy would just get. I hate to say this, but I kind of wish that guy would get hurt so that they could repackage him as like just whatever his regular name is and just let him come back.
But see, here's the thing. They all have something in common. Summer Rae.
Ugh.
I kind of liked Adam Rose and the Rosebud.
I liked it. I don't think it ever got enough traction.
Yeah.
It turned into a circus act too quick.
Yeah.
Like he never had a feud with anybody, and then when they would try to put him with a feud, it just became into this circus act kind of thing.
Hey, he had a feud with the Bunny.
But then who'd the Bunny ever turned out to be?
It was supposed to be Justin Gabriel, and of course he got fired. So
I'm saying.
Just like who was driving the Hummer that ran over Bill Goldberg in WCW, or Hulk Hogan, whoever. They never said who that was.
Wait, it
Just
wasn't
a
Rick
mystery.
Steiner?
No.
It was Brutus Beefcake. But it's okay. Hogan told him he could do it.
The Zodiac. The
Yes, no, yes, no.
The man with no name. What kind of crap? You suck. And when they said, you know what? You don't have a name. So I'm the man with no name? Exactly. Crap.
No, they probably told him that to go like, hey, you're going to go out there as your name. And he goes, all right, you have no name. Okay. I am the man with no name.
That man spent so much time behind piles and piles of cocaine. I don't think he can even remember what his real name is.
Yeah. Dusty sitting back at the pit, at the side going, no, that's not what I meant.
Damn it, Baba. Damn it.
Damn it. Bring him back out here.
Damn,
All right,
Shockmaster
so what
all over again.
What did y'all
What's that?
killing me? Y'all better slow down, compose, everybody take a breath.
Okay.
Let's move into Raw. What y'all think of Raw?
Aside from how, corny it was to have him say, okay, Shane, go ahead, I thought that the Raw after Mania was pretty good. I really liked that. Well, I think we all agreed. The debut of Enzo and Cass was great. The debut for Baron Corbin on Raw was interesting. I really wasn't expecting him to be the next man up, but he may have something. If he can keep his ego in check that we've seen on Breaking Ground, he might have something that we could enjoy. What about the Wyatt family turning face? How cool is that?
Well, I think after reading an interview with Bray, they're kind of like just walking that fine razor's edge. They're going to do what they want to do against who they want to do when they want to do it. It doesn't make them good guys and doesn't make them bad guys. Is kind of how he explained it. And I kind of like that. So I'd like to see him go against New Day, since now that Harper's out. So that would be a good little feud. New Day and the Wyatts.
I think that the League of Nations has actually run its course. So if this was their way of just shutting that down and having the Wyatts take over in that role, yeah. The New Day versus the Wyatts could definitely be good.
Yeah. Rob? Oh.
Hey, Rob.
What?
Oh, yeah. Hey, sorry, somebody wake Rob up. Oh, what the hell, man?
I was sneezing.
What do you think of the Wyatt family and what they did on Monday night?
Well, I think it's just it's the Wyatt family that they wanted. It's the Wyatt family that it was started with. The one you're supposed to fear, the one that's supposed to be unpredictable and go after people and just lay waste, and go get the gold. That's, and you got a glimpse of it. Now, if they let it continue, that's the question. We had that. I liked Raw for one point, that it was a lot, like you said, it was a lot less talking and more wrestling. But I like the Wyatts. I think it's about time we start making them what the crowd wants. Oh, that moment in Ring of Honor when you go get the chair under the ring and there's too many streamers.
That's got to be frustrating. Stupid streamers, get out of the way.
This never happened when I was in Ohio Valley.
Or, that bingo hall down the street.
Well, I think that, Raw had its moments. I agree with Baron Corbin's thing. You said, I didn't think he would be the next one to come up. I didn't think that his character was like that solid, I guess, but he did have a great performance on TakeOver.
Yep.
And I think his takeover match was probably one of the things that led him to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
I think he's been pretty patient,
I
all
think
things
that,
considered.
Yeah. I think he understood that, it takes time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's time the WWE needs something to go with New Day, because I think their gimmick is over. They are over so bad. They come out to the ring and half of the time they don't wrestle.
Right.
But your fans are going to get tired of the belts not being defended. So it's like it's time to, get them a legitimate challenger. Not the League of Disappointment or the League of Bad Pushes or
the League of No Heat.
The League of, we're almost out of here. But, we'll see. I think that Raw was a lot. I guess they had WrestleMania just to build up to Raw, but
that was what I was curious about, because the Raw after Mania is, since about 2010, is just phenomenal, and it seems like it almost overshadows the main show. So with this past Monday night coming into this next week's Raw, it's going to be interesting to see what they do next. With Enzo and Cass debuting, their stare down with the Dudleys, I thought was great. I'm interested to see what happens next, although my fear is that it's just a typical Dudleys come out, beat them down for embarrassing them last week, and we get a very garden variety tag team feud. But who's to say that Enzo and Cass don't manage to hold their own? The Dudleys don't necessarily go out there trying to squash potential feuds. I think sometimes they overshadow them because of how big stars they are.
Is it going to be another, man, I almost forgot their name. The Road Warrior wannabes, that they brought in.
Oh, the Ascension, yeah.
Immediately squashed. Yes, I couldn't think of their name. That's how irrelevant I think the tag team has become. But it's just like they were built up in NXT to be this unbeatable Road Warriors-esque tag team. Bring them to the main roster, and they get immediately beat down and made fun of, and any kind of hope for push was gone.
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest mistakes that was made with bringing the Ascension up was having them basically talk smack about every other tag team that came before them. And then, in turn, to have them do that, and then to have basically the retired tag teams come out there and kick their butts, which was the New Age Outlaws, the APA, and Road Warrior Animal. So, all of these guys that come out there and beat up the Ascension, it was just, they really didn't get a whole lot of help when they made their debut.
Yeah, but my thing is, up until, Kevin Owens, you hadn't really had anybody that was in next to come up that really got a good push. And I think it was because somebody doesn't understand what they have as far as the talent from Next. And then you started Kevin Owens and some of these other guys, and you're now going to see a change. I mean, Jesus Christ! Look at all the matches on Monday that had Next in it, and that was probably half your card were Next wrestlers, and they did. They were showcased quite nicely. I think we're on the verge of seeing a complete overhaul to that roster. And I think you're going to get more and more of the Next crew. And, there's not going to be quite this come in, win a match, and then get squashed for the rest of your career.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was looking on Twitter on Monday night after Enzo and Cass debuted. And this one of the dirt sheets that's out there tweets something to the effect of, well, now that these guys have debuted, there's really no one noteworthy left in NXT. And what I was pointing out on there was that you have Nakamura, you have Sami Zayn at the time, so now that he's up, you've got Nakamura, Austin Aries, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, you've got Dash and Dawson, you've got American Alpha. I mean, the list goes on, and that's just the men's division. Bayley, Carmella, Nia Jax, Asuka, who had a phenomenal title match against Bayley. On the women's side, there's so many talents that just continue to roll in to NXT and then thus getting moved up the card to Raw or SmackDown. I can't for the life of me see why anybody would be unhappy to see this many debuts. I mean, the Vaudevillains just debuted on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, how about that? That was a good match, a good debut match for them.
A lot of people talk about maybe Kevin Dunn as the guy that isn't really okay or understanding when it comes to the talent coming from NXT. But I don't really know if that's really true anymore, because I think what he's seeing now is that the caliber of talent coming up is greater than that of, not to put him down again, but that of a guy like Adam Rose or Tyler Breeze. And both guys are actually very good in the ring. I just think that they weren't done any favors with the gimmicks they were saddled with.
I mean, you might be right, but I mean, the problem is, just like some of these dirt sheets, there has to be an evolution, a change. There has to be. Without it, you wouldn't have the Attitude Era. You wouldn't have the NWO. You wouldn't have had, 80s rock and wrestling. You have to change. You have to welcome it, especially when it's staring you in the face. And I think that's the biggest problem. If there's somebody inside WWE that was like trying to hold these guys back, it's because they didn't want to change. They didn't understand it. Well, now apparently there's somebody there that does, and they're gonna start making money. I mean, just look at the crowd Monday night. They were in a frenzy almost the entire night. And I pointed out to you, Stan, because you said you had a problem with it. That's nothing that we didn't do in every show we went to.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point on that. I felt like the crowd was attempting to kind of take over, but I can see what your point is on that we would have been just as loud and just as rowdy. I don't know that we would have timed it the same as some of the folks of some of the chants that were going on, but it's just a personal thought. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think we would have been making noise. I just think we probably would have been a little bit more supportive of what was in the ring.
Well, I mean, I think they were well supported. I think they supported what was in the ring, just based off the chant and the sing along. And
well, folks, we are coming up on the first break of the evening. When we come back, of course, we'll continue to go through NXT TakeOver, a little bit of our thoughts on Mania, the Raw after Mania, and more. We've got plenty to talk about still, so stick with us here. If you're listening to us live on Spreaker.com, stick with us. We're going to just do a quick reset. If you're listening to us through BeyondRingside.com, we definitely appreciate it. We'll be back in a few right here on Corner to Corner. Stick with us.
Rob.
Yeah.